close for the World Cup, thinking about the autumn as well, and this a real yardstick of how far England have progressed under Steve Borthwick, coming up against the defending Six Nations champions. So as the teams start to emerge here at Twickenham, let's join your commentary team of Ben Kay, Lawrence Delalio, and first, good afternoon, Nick Mullins.
Yes, hello everybody. Such a sense of anticipation around all this. England about to conclude their Six Nations over the next couple of weekends against the two best teams in the world, against perhaps the best player in the world at the moment, the French captain, Antoine Dupont, and England under new captaincy as well. Special seconds for Ellis Genge these. The boy from Knoll West, first Bristol player to lead England out in this championship for nearly 50 years, since the great John Pullen in the early 1970s. There were times when he said in the early days that he didn't feel that his face fitted in this sport, but there he is now. Plenty of French voices here who will help belt out La Marseillaise, and then Maxwell Thorpe will lead us into God Save the King. France against England, and we are nearly there.
Coverage of the Guinness Six Nations on ITV is sponsored by That's the Way. Motorway, the site to sell your car.
Deliveroo presents hundreds of groceries at in-store prices.
From shop to sofa in as little as 20 minutes. Ooh!
Coverage of the Guinness Six Nations on ITV is sponsored by That's the Way. Motorway, the site to sell your car.
Wonderful bit of film doing the rounds on social media this week. You may have seen it, showing the two teams walking out for their first game here in 1911. Rather ambling onto the pitch rather than charging out as they did just then. black and white pictures, no sound, no fireworks. Plenty of bowler hats, just lovely. Ben Kay, Lawrence Dallaglio are alongside. Lawrence, the thoughts of a former England captain on Ellis Genge, the new one.
Well, of course, all the talk this week has been about Farrell and Smith, but Genge captaining the England side, and for me, as a forward, England have had an issue in the last 12 months, maybe even 24 months starting games, and it's all about the emotion. And we know with Ellis Genge, the way he led Tigers to the title last season, he will certainly get this England team fired up.
I think individually, as a player, he got better by about 10% when he was given the Leicester captaincy. It took some of the edges off, perhaps just having to be that role model, stick to game plans and ask other people to stick to game plans. Certainly he's improved immeasurably and is now rightfully touted as one of the best, if not the best, loosehead props in the world.
Ben O'Keefe, 34-year-old optician from New Zealand, is our referee. France's 800th Test match, England's last competitive game here before the World Cup. And Marcus Smith has England underway, and a huge roar around this packed-out stadium. And Charles Olivon with the first French drive, and Greg Aldrit with an even lengthier one. And kicked away by Romain Thomas. First catch for Freddie Stewart. Will not be his last.
Ball's out, play
Ball
on.
stolen and picked up by Fiku, and England not protecting it, and gathered by Cyril Bay, taken on by Aldrit.
Big turnover there. We saw the threat of Jonathan Dante immediately causing trouble, as Benjamin Kayser was saying before the game, and then his centre partner Fiku picks it up.
I just thought England, when they saw Stewart catch that ball and make the break, you've got to resource the breakdown, you've got to follow him into contact. Gave France far too long.
Francois Cross replacing the injured Anthony Gillon on the blindside flank today. Ball stolen back by Stewart for England gratefully. Jack Willis plays for Toulouse, earned his living in the south of France.
Use it! One! Ball's out!
A lot of friends for him on the pitch, 11 of the French squad are from Toulouse.
This is one of them, Thomas. France 10. France 15 is Thomas Ramos, another Toulouse player. And this is Thibaut Flamand, another. And this is a break, and this is wonderful stuff. And Dumortier with the ball wide to Ramos. And France, in the guise of Toulouse, puncture England within 2 minutes. Watch the start, France told us. Look at this start for France.
It's an unbelievable start. Their ability to light the touch paper and go off turnover ball, off opportunities. Don't mind where they are on the field. If they see England with too many back, too short in the wide channels, they'll work their way there. Flamand with his brilliant ball-playing ability for a second row initially. And then Dumortier pops up and feeds the ball to the pace of Ramos. Lovely initial offload there, and then Flamand again. That ability of French teams at the moment to keep the ball alive, and finished off with the stunning pace of Ramos.
Well, I think Johnny Wilkinson before kick-off mentioned the fact that England defensively, they had to be on best behaviour against Scotland. They left holes and Scotland took advantage of France. You've got to realign your defensive line better than they did. Jack Willis beat with one pass, and France are up and running straight away.
Ramos, sharp interception try that put France 19-0 up very early on against Scotland. He puts them 5-0 up against Steve Borthwick's England very early on. England, I know, have given plenty of thought to these opening 10 minutes. They wanted to play with an intensity that reminded France how tough it can be to play here, to win here, but this French team set off just as quickly in the wins against Italy and Scotland, and here against England. How about this? 3.5 minutes gone. England 0, France 7.
Yeah, the finish is outstanding, but again, England's inability to keep hold of the ball at vital times against a French team that want to attack on a disrupted defensive line. Jack Willis is going to be really important at slowing the French breakdown down, but equally they have to watch the threat of the likes of Dante in and around their own ball.
It's that offload, isn't it? If you commit 2 men to the tackle, you've got to stop the ball and tie it up. England weren't able to do that, and France are able to offload the ball and get in behind.
Willis will only have an opportunity to do what he's good at. Ludlam as well there, just coming in slightly at the side for Ben O'Keefe's liking, but they have to have breakdowns. If they allow France to play a breakdown-free game, offloading, there's nothing England's more mobile back row can do about it.
Key now for England is just to steady themselves. When you concede an early score, bit of shock, the crowd have gone quiet naturally. It's only the French you can hear singing, but got to steady the ship, just get some possession, some territory.
Fabien Gaultier, brilliant little scrum half as a player, outstanding coach as well. And France again stretching legs, testing defences. Mortier, who had a hand in the try, and Dupont gets it away. Oh, it was very nearly intercepted by Slade, but again it's Aldrit and France in full cry, and woof, straight through Freddie Stewart, taken the fullback out of the equation, and Alex Dombrandt as well.
May well have gone forward, but no, referees decided the penalty for the deliberate knock-on was it. France really trying to play. Initially, England come in, but you've got to tie that ball up. They don't manage to do that. France come round the corner, and Aldrit, who's had a quiet campaign so far by his high standards, well, there's only one way he's going there, and that's straight over the top.
Shot called. Mark's there.
There's fine margins, aren't there?
Sorry,
Henry Slade goes for the intercept. If he comes up with it, he's probably under the sticks. But as a result, England scrambling, and they've been saved a number of times already in this game by Stewart, England. A couple of interventions, he's intercepted when France looked like they might break down that right-hand side initially, and he does so again there, but they give away the penalty.
France, the Grand Slam champions a year ago, on the back of some irresistible rugby, seem to be setting themselves up beautifully for the home World Cup in the autumn.
I understand the same.
One or two just beginning to wonder if they were slipping a little bit. Had their moments in this championship so far. We heard Sean Edwards talking to Martin Bayfield about them before the match, but they've not been consistent yet.
Yeah, I know.
However, this start, and this for 10-0. Thomas Ramos, top point scorer coming into this weekend, already has 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the talk in the build-up was about England and maybe the changes that they made, but France are a team that maybe haven't quite hit the heights in the campaign so far, but it's only a very good Ireland side that have beaten them in the last 18 months, and I'm sure that they've come into this game really, really wound up.
Third time in quick succession that Marcus Smith has got England going. Again, he went deep and to the right. Tamak, and again, it's Aldrit who does the secondary clearing job.
No, wait.
And again, it's Tamak's boot. That's a wonderful kick.
Played pretty error-free rugby so far, France, haven't they? Playing when they feel like it's on, offloading, playing the natural game, and then the exit strategy there. First time he missed touch, this time he makes touch.
Chesham winning the line out for England, and Smith to his Harlequins teammate Dombrandt. Ollie Lawrence, inside centre for England today, helps draw the England penalty, so we are playing the advantage. See how long Ben O'Keefe allows this to go on. In charge here for the third time, O'Keefe. Smith did something similar for his club Quins here last weekend against Exton that led to a try, but not this time. However, England's penalty there.
Come back for the penalty. The first time England had beaten the French forwards around the corner there. Marcus Smith lifting the ball over the defensive line, choosing that option. But Lawrence on a good hard line. Big shot from Dante coming in. You can certainly hit, but that is going to be a big battle all game. Not quite rolling away quickly enough to allow Van Poortvliet to take it. England's first real attacking opportunity from this line.
Well, he was the well selection when the team was named on Thursday, and he's helped set up this first attacking position. Oof, slippery hands from Ludlam. Van Poortvliet makes sure that it's still England's to play with, and here is Lawrence. George. Van Poortvliet. Lewis Ludlam.
That's how again. Got in over the breakdown, and Lewis Ludlam trying to duck under. Got to have a little bit more meters through contact. Try and get that leg drive going, stay on your feet, because France, we know, well, they put it in space in behind.
Well, they have, and Damian Penaud's chasing this, and I don't know whether Anthony Watson's aware of it. Oh, Watson's feet, my goodness, that's not bad. He was being hunted by Penaud, but Penaud couldn't get a shot on him.
Use it! One!
England, however, back here when they should have been up there. And here's the new captain, Ellis Genge.
Foot! Balls out!
First prop to skipper England since Phil Vickery at the World Cup 2007, and Genge and England having to dig in here.
Okay, use it!
See France really hard at the breakdown, trying to slow England down. They know England want to play with quicker ball, albeit in their own 22 at the moment, but they don't want to give Marcus Smith that platform with no line speed against him. They want to slow down every breakdown, make sure that Smith sees a blue wall in front of him.
We talked about the breakdown, and at the moment they're losing that battle. Dante really turning England over in an attacking opportunity.
France need to get their numbers right. Francois Cross has been told to get back on halfway. Marchand to Ficou. Comes out the big men entirely to set the ball up in midfield straight away, but then Atoje snaffles it back for England, and Sinclair and Van Poortvliet. Lewis Ludlam was his option away to the left. Tamak threads it down the line to Smith.
10-metre ring with the ball. It runs on, blue, white.
10 to 10, Smith to Tamak. That looks a bit of a woolly one. Max Malins, first and second test tries in international rugby against Scotland at the beginning of this championship. Jack Van Poortvliet and Genge, and pops it up nicely to George. Oh, that's gone forwards. Little bit loose from England in the tight at the moment.
A little bit loose, but you could question if Julian Marchand was actually coming from an offside position, so maybe as Van Poortvliet went to pick that up, looked like just had Marchand in his way. Would have been really vital quick ball. That's what Steve Borthwaite and these coaches are trying to do, get England playing a little bit quicker, try and get that ruck speed up and move that French type 5 around.
Just that spillage for Genge. The build-up play was actually quite nice, good carry up, the little inside ball from Genge, and George took it on, brilliant clear out from Mauro Itoje to give Genge a ball that he was running onto, and he just fumbled it. Now he gets an opportunity to put things right in this scrum.
Free kick goes against Dorian Aldegheri. Aldegheri back involved for the first time since he lost here in 2021. Important to get over that mark first, Lawrence, but you've got to do it legally.
Yeah, you do have to do it legally as the ball's gone up in the air from Marcus Smith. Sure, exactly, that was the intention. Put it that deep without any pressure on Ramos. He'll take those all day long. A shake of the head from Marcus Smith, he got that wrong.
Trying to go for the spiral bomb, wasn't he, which will go up, spiralling and come down, as it does all over the place, difficult to take, but didn't work out.
England whipping away with the line out. And then taken up by Stewart, Van Poortvliet, Smith. Now then opportunities. Van Poortvliet, Malins. He got a bit too much club on that.
That's positive from England. Just that leg drive that Stewart offered there, gets through contact, and then you can really dominate the breakdown. You can't go in as a French defender and challenge that when you're beaten on the leg drive. So really good work from Stewart.
Range just started bucketing down. You can see Marchand will take his time drawing this ball now, under pressure on his own line, has to get it right.
You wouldn't call the line-out one of France's award-winning areas in recent times. However, they came through that one smartly enough, and Aldrich doing a lot of wheelbarrow work at the moment with his back to the try line.
Jack Willis just trying to put pressure on there, just lost his feet. England keen just to maintain their territory here.
Backpedaling Anthony Watson, he's got time to find Stewart. Malins to his right. Stewart decides to take it up, hauled down by a tumbling Flamand. It's the second time that...
That's the right call.
You're always in contact with the ball player.
Absolutely no explanation there. Lewis Ludlam bound on before the tackle, tried to drag his man through the contact, but then went off his feet. If you pre-bind before contact, you have to stay on your feet, even if it's accidental. It's a cheap opportunity for France to get their field position and attack going again.
Let's have a chat with Benjamin Kayser. I imagine your gloves have enjoyed this opening few minutes, Ben.
I was absolutely delighted by that first try, definitely. Speaking to Laurent Labitte, the attack coach, before the game, saying maybe they overplayed a little bit against Ireland. Well, good job he didn't listen to, they don't listen to either one of us, because they, you know, throw that expensive pass, offload by Charles Olivon, sensational try, Etienne Dumortier finding Ramos in the corner. Just a brilliant display of saying, look, we're going to take this challenge by the horns, and that's exactly what we were expecting of them.
Trying to be much the better side so far. Jonathan Danty calling for it. Here he is. Danty and Lawrence, heavyweight contest at 12 today. Cyril Bay chugging up to the 22. Dupont to the right, and then Ficou. Just about the first thing that France have got wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Ficou looking to put it in behind, but again put too much through that. Just think England have got to address this breakdown. 3 out of 4 penalties against them in that area, whether they're going in to win their own ball or they're trying to compete with France. And at the moment, that is the game. It's allowing France to dominate the territory, field position, put pressure on this England side.
Tamak bowls it to Aldrich. See what Aldrich's job is today.
Okay, blue, stop!
Up she goes, and down with the raindrops. Penaud did really nicely to deflect that back on the blue side. However, England, enough bodies over that to win it. And Ollie Chessum, still only 22 year on from his championship debut. Well, England need extra bodies in there. Ludlam wanders across, and it's Ficou providing a nuisance. That's not a good kick from Jack Van Poortvliet. And one by Olivon. Ramos. Van Poortvliet, opportunity to find a slightly better one. Ramos to Tamak. Tamak will be the kick master today, deciding whether to go down the middle or to stretch things to the left or the right.
Well, they're certainly winning that battle, I think, at the moment. Both him and Dupont and Ramos kicking very, very well indeed.
Well, notice the forwards are all standing still in the middle of the field because the team tactics are not to go unless there's a loose kick. Now England will go because it's hit grass and bounce. So the England forwards leave the halfway line where they've been in a line. They put the pressure on and they force the poor kick. That's the key to kick tennis. Wait for a mistake and then try and hammer it home, get the advantage, and you will get the better line-out position.
Lost count of the amount of time Sean Edwards was talking about that. If you find that grass in behind the kicker, that's when you apply the pressure.
England have yet to break into France's 22, carrying the ball. They're, 10 metres away here.
Jamie George is moving that ball backwards, making sure Zelis Genge has got it. Penalty advantage now. Freebie.
Slade waits. Smith took it backwards, but still managed to create a little bit of danger. Van Poortvliet, oh my goodness, Dumortier was not far away. Here's Malins spinning into Aldrich, back for the penalty.
Saw what England were trying to do there, using player like Slade as the pair of hands just to take the heat off. Ntamack flew out of the line and just left his centre pairing behind. Just created a little bit more time for Marcus Smith to run into the gap.
Going for the corner now. It looks like Marcus Smith is bring the tee on.
Was invited to actually head back here last Saturday evening to play for Harlequins, to find a bit of form, have some game time. He absolutely did that. He was our player of the match, and here he is for England today.
The reason behind going for the corner is it's one area France have struggled a little bit in. The Scottish gave them a little bit of a hard time with it. Not necessarily just the drive, but France's ability to reorganise in midfield after an attempted drive.
Chesham did well.
They did really well, having to reach for that, and often that could affect the setup, but England seem to have got that well set. Chesham urging his troops on, protect the ball will be the message.
Dombrandt had it, but he was running out of mates, and the ball's there to be scragged back, and look who comes up with it, Oliver. England over the ball so far have been very ragged.
Yeah, France have won all the scraps, haven't they? They've counteract really, really well.
That's a good kick as well. It makes sure that England have no chance to take a quick line out.
Just got a little bit isolated here, Ben, didn't they? Originally the setup's quite good, and then I think it's Jack Willis that just breaks off, and ball there looks like it's coming out instead of hits the French boot.
England so upright and all facing the wrong way at the front of that maul. Just meant the French could choose their gaps.
Smith, Lawrence chasing, however, Penaud. Stewart chases his kick. Penaud made sure that that chase was not a comfortable one, to allow an extra nanosecond for Thomas Ramos, but he's clattered. French ball nonetheless. Dupont.
Oh, shame, wasn't it? A mistake there from Anthony Watson. I mean, I don't know what France had for breakfast this morning, but their kicking game, there seems to be a little bit more power in their kicking game, whether it's Dupont, Penaud, Ntamack, Ramos. They're all their exit plays from their own 22, and generally their tactical kicking is of the highest order today so far.
I think we knew that England's Borthwick rebuild was set to face its stiffest challenge so far, and so it's working out in this opening quarter. Early try for Thomas Ramos, the fullback, converted by him, and then a penalty slotted over by him. England 0, France 10. England with a little bit more ball recently, without necessarily looking like they might score a try. And now they've got some defensive work to do, because Aldrit and that blue French pack shoving hard. Aldrit goes one way as Dupont went the other. Here's Dante knocking down walls. Loose ball. Loose because it was an England knock on Dupont, and then Ficou lays it back for Dupont. Ntamack, Penaud went for the kick instead, and Ludlam did a good job of holding up chasers, notably Aldeghiri, and that gave England time this time to find their kicking boots.
Huge from Stewart, good from Dupont, sniping around those edges, looking for England guard defenders, being a little bit lax.
Just the way he pulls the ball back, Ben, isn't it? Just pulls it back there for Ficou to run onto.
Huge clearance from Stewart to relieve that pressure, with both him and Marcus Smith facing the wrong way after a little nudge through.
Stewart very much picking up where he left off last week. It's been excellent so far.
Referee Ben O'Keefe just making the point that he doesn't want a committee meeting before every line-up. To the back, and Flamont. And here's Aldrit. It's getting for a ton of work at the moment. Oh, Toje absolutely sold the biggest dummy in the world, and then Dupont, as he was hustled by Chesson, loses it.
Second row partner got him out of a hole there. Toje just rushed up on Dupont, so skillful.
Okay, use it! Use it, one! Use it!
French voices telling him to use it as well. He's getting plenty of advice, Jack Van Poortvliet. He does in the end. Ramos takes it. Gets clobbered by Dombrand. It's by. Nicely away as he was tumbling to find Donti. Dupont. Every time, if there's ever a question to run, pass or kick at the moment, it's kick.
That's a 50-22, which means France get the throw-in, and it's England's mistake. They tried to change Stewart and Van Poortvliet at the back, and as they were crossing, Dupont's head came up, saw the opportunity to kick it into the corner, and he gets the throw-in now. It's as good as a penalty, that mistake for England that they've just gifted to France, but Stewart and Van Poortvliet decide to change position, and while they're both in the middle of the field under the sticks, the kick comes in when you would have wanted them guarding that kick.
France's turn now to try and turn this red zone line out into points. England have had their opportunity at one end, didn't come away with anything.
Flamand challenged by Itoje. Oh, he was up and interfering, so France with the penalty. Dupont by. Within 5 metres, Donti. They know these are precious moments inside England's 22, and then the drive from Flamand. Second French try, making the absolute most of time near England's line.
Oh, Flamand is becoming very quickly one of the rising stars of French rugby. The quality of this line as he comes around the corner, penalty advantage being played for Itoje, making the contact in the air. Aldrich comes around the corner, drives for the line, but then after one phase back the same way. Look at the quality of this line. Flamand just getting up from that breakdown, comes around the corner. Dante has a little carry, and now the timing. Bang between two defenders. Nothing England can do. It's Lawrence, I think, just gets separated slightly from his centre partner, Slade, and he goes bang between the two. Ludlam tries to bring down, nothing he can do. And the French look potent, as always.
First time he's played here in a test match. A man who Wasps supporters will know very well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's keep watching it. Lots of kicks, guys happy with space. Guys are stopping, they're outside 10. Yeah.
Thomas Ramos.
Okay.
England at 6s and 7s. France already up to 17.
Well, it just shows how ruthless France have been so far in this match. They gave England that one opportunity, and England came away with nothing. They go up the other end, wonderful kick from Dupont, and they strike straight away.
Issues for the new captain, the new England captain, Ellis Genge.
Thank you, White.
Olivant carried it a metre or so. Dupont, I think we know where this is going.
Inside.
Really good length on these kicks.
Okay, White.
Freddie Stewart needing to weave his way through. Again, that weaving meant that Tumac had time to gather, and he should have been able to turn that ball back on the blue side, but it was loose. Such was England's chase and the quality of it.
Do you know what? I think that's the first breakdown penalty England have won. It's the pressure that Jack Willis is putting under, and there we go. It's Itoje actually that lifts it. France, who's caught with numbers, and England will try now to get their first points on the board.
It's off the the left boots of Henry Slade.
Just wanted a little bit more on that, Slade, but safer option. You'll have a long way to drive here.
Ludlam brings it down and then starts to bark the instructions. Oh. Well, these England penalties up to 5 now, and too many of them in hopeful positions.
Yeah, they just can't get anyone into the game. You think about France, the backs have all been in the game, the forwards have been coming onto board. England simply, with the penalties they're giving away, with the mistakes they're making at the breakdown, they're just not allowing any of their players to come into the game at all.
Carl Sinclair guilty there of blocking the French forwards from getting to Lewis Ludlam, the jumper, just stepping across at the front lifter of Ludlam, and preventing France getting to the ball. England get quicker ball, and the referee wants to see a fair competition.
Marchand tossed that up beautifully to Flamand. Didn't come down comfortably. It went. He thought initially, Ben O'Keefe, backwards, which it did, but then it was knocked on. So England will have the scrum.
That's a bonus for England, really, because this French line-out has actually been looking very good. I mean, how well is that young man playing? Seems to be inspired at the moment, and look, there it is.
It's great from Itoje. He's allowed to pull him over because no one else enters from England, so there's no maul, just a tackle. So as soon as he lands, he can sack him, and they get up turnover off it. Smart from Itoje, having tried to compete in the air, to react that quickly as he landed.
I'm not seeing a big lead. Set up, you're happy with the gap, set up, good space. Show me good pictures, please.
I'm wondering what kind of pressure they might be able to put on their tight head, on the France tight head, Dorian Aldeguiri. Mohamed Aouas and Winnie Antonio both banned. Demba Bamba injured. Aldeguiri is probably a 4th, 5th choice tight head. They may well have targeted him. Ellis Genge opposite him down below us, but it's just a simple restart ball, and Lawrence and Stewart coming onto it. Smith, Malins, pirouettes away from the hungry arms of Fickou. Itoje. Sinclair bashes it up. Smith waits. Lawrence beyond him. Man of the match here against Italy, Lawrence. First Six Nations try in Cardiff, and then Donty was on it. Rapier fast Donty. But England actually did well to pick up the bits.
And it was Donty again, but this time he's penalised. Tell you what, he's been outstanding defensively, turning the ball over 2 or 3 times, but just gets his sums wrong on that occasion.
England in training this week down at Pennyhill Park in Surrey have had Manu Tuolangi, who's in camp, pretending to be Jonathan Donty, doing all the things that they think he will do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can understand why, because he's got that real bulk and presence. Really aggressive, wanting to prove a point. He's been out for quite some time, but England now just steadying the ship at the breakdown.
So the damage is already done.
But
first bloke's like trying to block us, and then second bloke's shacking us.
So I agree. Okay, the pictures I'm seeing now, I'm actually happy that I'm not seeing those deliberate actions, but I'm watching closely, because when I do see it, that's why I put my arm down. Okay, we get the penalty. We're on the same page.
They play 6 against us, and I understand.
I don't believe it's 6, mate. I'm happy to talk with you, but that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Just asking the referee to look at not necessarily the jackler, but other players in the breakdown that might be blocking England from making that initial clear out. So perhaps the tackler getting back to his feet, but being a little bit slow to move while another player comes in. It's a very Sean Edwards tactic. We saw it with Wales, those multiple players working together on the jackal. Used to get Gethin Jenkins to almost be the knee that Sam Warburton could sit on to give him that purchase on the ball.
Smith bends it in, nicely judged. England on the board. England 3, France 7. I was smiling as well, Lol, looking at you, because one of the great things you used to do as captain was become the referee's best friend for 80 minutes. He was the only bloke in the world that mattered, and Ellis Genge doing a little bit of that just then.
Well, I mean, listen, Owen Farrell is a world-class player, but, you know, you can't talk with any credibility at the breakdown if you're a fly half. And Ellis Genge there having a very honest conversation with the referee. And most of the penalties in the game of rugby union are given away around scrum and breakdown. So this is why I've been advocating that a forward needs to be the captain and needs to build that relationship with the referee.
Oh, France piling over with the counter-up, and they win the penalty.
Leave the ball wide, 10.
Just look at the number of blue shirts that entered there, knowing England aren't a team that want to attack from deep. They put 2 in initially, and then as soon as one goes in and gets half a purchase, it's Aldrich who gets that initial 30 centimetres of movement. In come the others. Fickou first, Willemse with all his weight, and once they win there, England panic and play the ball on the floor.
Actually, the early work of Francois Cross as well, which forced George to go in, which created the space.
I mean, look, Dobran has got to stay on his feet longer than that. You've got to if you're going to run at French defenders like that, you've got to knock them backwards. He caught the ball deep. He looked static, never really got the leg drive, and you allow the defender to really dominate the breakdown there, and Cross did brilliantly.
Incidentally, while we're talking about the referee, do we have to praise Ben O'Keefe for speaking in fluent French? We don't have to, but we will. It's great to hear. And very quickly, those 3 points that England gathered have been wiped away. It's England 3, France 20.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that opening score, which was created with a little bit of vision to see the space on the outside, it's been France getting that territory down in that red zone and then just coming away with points every single time. And, you know, that's the game, isn't it? A lot of it's played in the middle of the park, but when you get down there, you've got to come away with points. You've got to construct those scoring opportunities.
Oof. Kick charge down now then, England. Genge, Dombrandt, Slade. Not many times France have dropped the teacups in this match so far, but this is a dangerous position. But again, England at the breakdown, again a penalty.
It's just an outstanding turnover.
Benny here, well, this is a Willis charging down, and England just feel you either hold your leg drive and keep going through the defender, or we've got to resource that breakdown a bit quicker than we are. Yes, it's good defence, but we're allowing the French defenders to get in over the top because we're losing our feet too early.
Work of Greg Aldrich for France in this first 36 or so minutes. They've been
well with him. Together, they've been a complete package, haven't they? Both sides of the ball, both sets of breakdown on their own ball. Aldrich, as you'd expect, one of the best carriers in the top 14.
3 minutes to half-time. 2 tries so far, both French, Ramos and Flamand. Loose ball, however, and Smith has it for England. Ludlam. First time that France have lost a line out today. Continues to rain here at Twickenham, so this won't be an easy one for Ramos. Took it well, and then the ground he made before Malins could finally stop him. Here's Aldrich taking on a Toje. England high tackle, France penalty. How many penalties is that? 8 now for England in this first half.
The penalties are mounting up, whether it's the breakdowns or elsewhere, but it's just the game's a little bit off. They just can't get anything going here. I mean, it's too deep, the kick, isn't it? And it's a scrag tackle for Malins, and now again France will build the territory, build the opportunity. 20 points to 3. England will not want to concede again before half-time.
I'm not going to get into the numbers debate, so you can work with the other team.
43-year-old Cumbrian Steve Borthwick. Biggest test of his coaching career so far. And so it is proving.
defenders have dropped. That's why I cross out into midfield. They can't win the ball cleanly, though.
Chesham was up. Dupont. Cyril by. Thud. By and Genge. Interesting. We need to sort this out, and they do. Combination of Malins and Smith tiptoeing his way through. Oh, and Don Brown. It went forwards. France scrum. More England mess.
Well, it's one of those, England worked really hard to turn the ball over. Don Brown just couldn't make the best of it. It's difficult conditions, mind, but just wanted that ball to go to hand. Smith just spinning and dancing his way through, getting England over the advantage line. That's quick ball. If that goes maybe one hand rather than needing to throw the miss pass, I think England probably had a few numbers on the outside and could have made something more of that.
Sort of bit of desperation, wasn't there, that we haven't had many opportunities to attack in the wide channel. We need to get there too quickly, but we're there to be picked off the French defenders. They were short of numbers.
Again, Ben, it's just given France that opportunity. Aldrit, who's been, by the way, outstanding in this first half. 8 metres per carry. That's a huge number for the number 8.
Down far side. Reset, time's off. First time we go down the side, we've got to stay up, okay? What's the feedback?
Gaultier's win percentage, by the way, since taking over after the 2019 World Cup is better than any other Frenchman in history. He's won 26 out of 33 so far, which takes him up to 79%. On course at the moment to make it 27 out of 34.
It's interesting there, a big discussion between Antoine Dupont and Damien Penaud, who's come off his wing. It's just standing inside Huntamack. You know the threat that he poses.
Milk this penalty first, but tell you what, they might end up getting it as well. There it is.
They do. Aldrit with Dupont there. Aldrit goes on his own, and this is Oliver, head down, over the line. England in tatters. The French in full sail. Oh, this first 40 for the visitors. They have taken their chances, and how they have.
Yeah, brilliant score, really well worked. First the forwards do their job, win the penalty, get that right shoulder up, and then Penaud runs that arc. You see him coming now. That drags Marcus Smith too quickly. Anthony Watson's already there, and by the time Smith can get back into position, having thought he was going to be marking Penaud, the ball's gone back on the inside. Brilliant ball from Aldrit. And Olivon, one-on-one on the line against Smith, is always going to win that collision.
Well, it's just some wonderful footballing ability. Aldrit, who's been outstanding. You know, yes, France had the scrum penalty, but he controlled the ball beautifully at the base there, picks it up on the run, feeds it back inside, and Olivon just turned on the accelerator, didn't he? And he had the power, he saw the line about 5 yards away, and knew that the try was scored. This is emphatic from France.
And Steve Borthwick marches off with some purpose. England are being undressed here. Ramos with the conversion, and through it goes. It's the most points England have conceded in the first 40 minutes here in the Six Nations. And big problems for England's new captain. Plenty for Johnny and Clive and Benjamin to ruminate on when we come back. Half-time score, England 3, majestic France 27.
What would have been said in the England dressing room, Clive, at half-time?
Obviously a big moment for Steve Borthwick in his first kind of big crisis, really. And to me, he goes, OK, can we win the second half? I think the game's gone at 27-3. I think so. But can we win the second half? And they've just got to get some numbers to the breakdown. Just take more risks on restarts and keep the ball. And we'll look at Mitchell, we'll look at Arundel. You've got a couple of real star players there possibly come in. But they've got to take, can we win the second half? Kind of damage limitation at the stage.
Let's see with Ben Kay, Lawrence Dallaglio and Nick Mullins.
No changes to either side at half-time.
Okay.
Ben O'Keefe, our New Zealand referee. It's just about stopped raining. Gathered by Ollie Chessing. First half where France have been busy scratching a Twickenham itch. Been busy under Fabien Gaultier, beating teams, winning in stadiums they haven't beat or won in for a while. And never triumphed here once since the Five Nations became six extraordinarily. 2005. Look what they're doing today. Marchand. Dupont. Ramos. Scored the bulk of their points. Willing runner. Dupont. Ficou. And this is Damien Penaud. Legs and imagination that are taking the places defenders don't expect.
French tactic to take England on in and around the breakdown, which just means that England can't get wide early. So little dabble around the breakdown, and then they use that space in the wide channel against England defenders that are having to go across the field rather than forward.
Beyond Aldrich to Tamac. Dribbling, bouncing ball taken by Stewart, who gives up the chase. Ramos heads after it. Oh, he's beaten by it. It was, I think, a centimetre or two.
Fraction away from being a very, very good kick. Stewart again with the boot. Lovely pickup, effortless really. And then that is a superb kick. Ramos, well, he's saying he knew what he's doing.
One area that France might have had a little word about at half-time. It hasn't been going so well as the line out. A couple of misses. We'll want to put pressure on there without giving away another penalty.
Paul Valenza at the front. Ooh.
It's because they hadn't set up. There were three players standing out, ready to give that momentum as they walked into the line-out, but they never actually came, so you can't throw it in.
They were told, Marchand, that did they? Look, there, you can't stand outside the line-out, exactly that, and that's an easy turnover of possession to England. And I guess one of the messages, and there would have been many at half-time for England, would have been, when we do get these opportunities, we do have to start nailing them. Come on. We're letting them off the hook.
Stay down. Stay down.
Alice Gench, Steve Borthwick's choice to lead Leicester to the Premiership title here last summer. One of the unlikeliest stories of recent rugby seasons, given where Leicester were the season before, but he's a man that Borthwick has absolute trust in. Still see the rain falling again. Ludlam. Flat-backed, pushing hard. Jack Van Portfleet, Smith, and this is Malins.
Exact same move they used against Wales.
Yeah, England rattling locks. Sinclair. Aldrich gave some thought to going over that ball. England with the penalty. Van Portfleet switches it. Smith thought about kicking, passed instead to Slade. Spat out of the back and taken by Stewart. Sinclair. And now we come back for the advantage.
Yeah, we may just have a quick look. England might decide to go quickly here, but for the first time, Aldegheri giving away the penalty. Thought the referee might consider a yellow card. It was quite quick ball there. England may opt for the scrub, may opt for the tap.
What's on Ellis Genge's mind?
Told the ref what was happening at the scrum just before the half-time break. Exactly the same move here, though, that England scored Watson's try off against Wales. Henry Slade goes hard to hold those defenders. Marcus Smith goes up the line with an arrowhead and tries to give it back to Maitland. France read it well. Sean Edwards done his homework.
Yeah, Smith takes out Dupont there. well within his rights because he was still in the ruck, and that Borthwick spots that gap. Quickly closed by good French defence.
Freddie Stewart lining up directly behind Marcus Smith, who's directly behind this scrum. Lawrence and Malins are to the right, Slade and Watson are to the left. And with the free kick, Smith again, the change of direction, and then the kick, and Malins chases, looks good. Malins gets there, if he got there cleanly. However, that's the question.
Well, if he's done this, it's outstanding.
Same as his one against Scotland, wasn't it? Does he manage to get control?
Checking whether he's onside first.
Do you believe it's knocked on? Okay.
Andrea Piardi is the assistant referee.
To you, Brett. On-field decision.
Always the suspicion that he'd not gathered cleanly.
It's different to the Scotland one. The Scotland one, he actually fell on top of the ball. This one, he tries to catch it, and it's whether he's got control, whether there's any separation between his arms and the ball as he goes over.
He was onside, I can confirm that.
He was onside, he was behind the kicker, behind Marcus Smith. As he lost control of that ball.
The player never took possession of the ball, which means that he has then gone forward. It's a knock-on in goal, which will mean that it'll be a goal line dropout.
Timo is the Australian.
Okay, so it is a knock-on. There's no try because he's never in position. So the ball travels forward in goal. So it's going to be a goal line dropout for a knock-on in goal.
If that ball hadn't touched his arm, it would have been a try. You can score with your chest as long as you're not in control of the ball. If you're just dotting it down with your chest, that's okay. But because it touches his arm first, it's a knock-on.
Now, very early England changes. Here comes Owen Farrell. Not a journey he's used to making. First time off the bench since the World Cup in 2015, and he's on to take over as captain. We were told that, and Jack Van Poortvliet as well in the scrum half has given way to Alex Mitchell, and I know, Ben, that's a change you would have made as early as this.
Yeah, Mitchell in particular, just to change things, he's very, very quick in his delivery from the base. We've seen when he's come on before to speed things up, change England's attack. Quite surprised Owen Farrell on at this stage, obviously. Into the centres, Marcus Smith still on.
Gombrand took it up. Atoje. Smith still at fly half. Mitchell to Smith, to Stewart. Wrestling with Flamont. Smith, and then Farrell, and this is Ludlam, and he's got Malins to the right. Watson, the other winger, not far away. A bit more pace and urgency about England's work right now. It's what Mitchell will absolutely bring. He's been doing it all season for his club, Northampton. Smith, and then Farrell involving himself as well. Watson's there, laid up by Chesson to Jack Willis. Smith, hop, skip and a jump. And now Genge and Farrell. Ludlam again, the furthest on this right-hand side. It's as fluent as England have been with the ball in hand so far.
It's the tempo, isn't it, for the scrum half?
Here's Stewart, a little run, a big score. And the noise tells you. Better from England, much better.
Well, those changes have had the desired effect, haven't they? 4 times they've been in this 22 and they've not come away with points. All of a sudden, Mitchell comes onto the field and exactly what he's been ordered to do, just lift the tempo of the game. England forwards and England runners are coming onto the ball at pace, and Stewart, who's been the best England player on the field, is the one who bursts through and gets the score. Just a completely different England coming onto the front foot, playing with higher tempo and getting over the whitewash.
Farrell's on, but Smith keeps the kicking job.
Yeah, First time France have switched off defensively. Too many bodies on the far side. Stewart spots that, comes back on that hard angle. England have so many numbers on that side. France haven't numbered up. And Ramos, because he's not in a set position, because he's having to wrap round underneath, he's always going to lose that physical collision against the bigger man. Brilliant line from Stewart, executed perfectly. Wow. We've seen Marcus Smith involved in a fair few comebacks. This would rank right at the very top of them.
Shorter restart, absolutely to compete with, but Chesham dominant.
Yeah, just got some momentum for the first time in the game, England, haven't they? The crowd could sense it.
Valença tried to slow things down. France are so good at gumming teams down at the breakdown, slowing down any attacking ambition. But for once, England found quick ball, found the try. Gathered in by Ficou, Ramos, and now Donti. Knee that has caused him so much trouble in recent times. Back to full working order. Ramos. Oh, beautifully done, goodness me. Down low by Bai. Dupont, boot to ball. Chased by Demortier, knocked on by Smith.
That's again the kicking game for Dupont. You know, it's not easy in these conditions. Just puts the ball in over the top, and Smith, maybe on a dry day you could run onto those, but thought he might have controlled it with his foot.
Maybe just planning ahead, Smith, there, before thinking about looking after the ball. We've seen him spark wonder tries from Harlequins against Montpellier from that distance, but you've got to do the basics when the conditions are like this. Now some heavy legs coming off the field and some fresh ones coming on, just as heavy, though.
Yeah, Dorian Aldeguerri and Paul Valença are coming off, and Sepili Falatea and Romain Taufi for Nua for France. This the first little shaft of sunshine in the rain for England.
Well, we talked in the first half, France's brilliance, France's ability just to win every battle, but England never got themselves into the game. It's the first time in the match where they've been able to put a number of phases together. Comes from the tempo that they're playing at, and lo and behold, they get their first try on the board.
However, the story of this contest so far, Benny, has been of France taking their opportunities whenever they get positions like this.
Absolutely, and have to sort this defence out, sort the breakdown out, the discipline in and around there.
The scrum has just come up. There's no way that's going to be a penalty. France got that one at the end of the first half, didn't they? They were looking for another one. There you go.
Not on the arm. New man then, Sepili Falatea.
Keep that weight stable, no leaning.
Found himself, Falatea, involved after only 10 minutes against Scotland, the consequence of Mohamed Awas's red card. Saw there the great Raphael Ibanez, somebody you know very well, Lawrence, the general manager for France, just passing on some scrummaging advice to Fabien Gaultier, who probably wouldn't call himself an expert.
No, but they know it's such an important part of the game. England coming back in there. Ah, it's a great scrum. It's probably the first time they've attacked France on their own ball, and that will get them pumped. Really, really good work.
The celebration of Genge as though it just won the game. Unbelievable, but it was a really strong penalty. Falatea hit him with everything he had on the first one. Tried to get the penalty by standing up, but Genge goes through in between the tight head and the hooker. Gets underneath the rib cage and comes across him and lifts him.
However, from the penalty, England tried to bite off more metres than they really had. Missed touch, and France managed to launch it back up towards halfway.
It's disappointing, this. England looking to play quick now for the line out.
Chesham again, Mitchell, Smith, Dombrand, and Farrell, and then Malins and Stewart. All of a sudden, England just beginning to hum that much better.
Another French turnover though, and England penalised for a neck roll.
One's a neck roll. There's one on the ball, holding on as well. Neck roll and holding on.
All good lines from England, but France just marshalling their defence. You felt they were always in control of that situation. As they come across here, I think Jack Willis gets penalised with the neck roll here.
On Donty.
Donty again, isn't it? He's just so good. The speed he gets into that position. Hinges at the hips and just manages to support his body weight, and once he's locked in on the ball, so difficult to move legally.
Often talk about Donty's threat in attack with the ball in hand. He was a huge wheel in last season's Grand Slam success, but he's also one of the best defenders in the world.
Yeah, no, I don't think Manu Tuilagi had that much success in training, let me tell you that now, because he's been excellent right from the very first breakdown, and there's a man who knows a thing or two about the breakdown as well, but Dante, so crucial to France's success.
Ben Curry on for Jack Willis. Oh, and Ficou. Dupont.
Got away with that. Ficou could have given that to Pinot on the inside. I think he would have been walking in.
Aldrit. Itoje tries to arrest momentum. Chessum comes in as well, but this a very handy foothold. Oh, that's gone forwards off a foot, perhaps. And England have it, and Curry has it.
Yeah, Ben Curry's turned it over.
He ripped it out of the hands of the scrum half as he had lifted it.
Use it once.
It's got to go to touch, surely, isn't it?
Taufi Fanua was lurking. Mitchell found height, not touch. Just Romain Tumac. He's running into a white forest there, but managed to get the ball away somehow. Taufi Fanua. He's a very large slab of French muscle, Taufi Fanua. He's busying himself early on, and Flamand has all match. Aldrit, who carried the ball more than the entire English pack in that first half. 80-odd metres.
Strong carries as well. That one's gone loose.
Ramos just about holds on to it.
Won every collision in that last passage, France, didn't they? That's a worry.
Taufi Fanua, 32 now. He's been around a while. Tamac. Oliver.
Look at the leg drive through contact. They're just so much more powerful here, France.
Tamac. Donty working hard to get there first, but Stewart was always the favourite.
No!
Got a head full of questions, Freddie Stewart, whenever France have the ball in and around the 22. Are they running it? Are they kicking it? Where are they kicking it? This is the ultimate test for England's fullback at the moment. And their new scrum half, Alex Mitchell, as Flamand hunted him down, but safely finds touch.
France, just 3 times they've thrown the ball over the back of the line. That's clearly something that they've seen. They want to have a little go there. I tell you what, if Gaël Ficou gives that, I think England are really struggling. And Aldrit talked about it, just his power. England can't stop that. Every single collision, they're winning, and it's the leg drive after contact that's causing England all sorts of problems.
Julien Marchand. Dupont, his Toulouse clubmate, eager for it. Marchand less keen to give it to him. Curry, oh, again the tackle and very nearly there, but it was good work from Donty to make sure it was still France ball.
Smith should have stolen that ball. Needs to stay in there a little bit longer.
Yeah, Marchand went off on his own then. Just did the difference at the work of the breakdown.
Tamac chasing a kick that could go anywhere. Knocks it back to Flamand, strides through, he has two, and France restore some measure of dominance.
Well, it's really wise again. Not the first time they've looked just to lift it over England's defensive line, straight down the pitch. But there, Smith has a little look at it, but doesn't hang in the battle long enough. Curry gets back to his feet, can't slow it down, but again, that little box kick over the top. And then because Stewart finds himself stationary, Ntamak has all the momentum, wins that battle in the air, just bounces the wrong way, gets the hands on it, and Flamand, we've seen him as soon as he gets an inch of space, he's got the power to run at arm tackles and find his way over the line.
It's just that vision, isn't it, of Dupont? Normally it's Marcus Smith on England's team that would have come up with those little kicks, but Dupont just putting it into that area of uncertainty, and Entamak able to tap it to Flamand for the try.
Well, England have been particularly vulnerable recently in these minutes after half-time, conceding nearly half the points they have against Scotland and Italy and Wales in this third quarter, and that's a painful, hurtful try. And Thomas Ramos has 19 points all of his own now. France have 34.
Just that bounce the ball wrong foot, Stuart, doesn't it? But Flamand really have been so impressed with him in this Six Nations Championship. His engine's good, he's always there in and around. Extra back row forward, but with the height to dominate a line out as well.
Henry Arundel on for England. Ramos, wonderfully done, up to halfway, he's got Entamak, and then Dupont herring after this, the charging little bull. Smith under so much pressure, aquaplaning towards his own line, driven over it, desperate to stay on that side, otherwise England will concede the 5-metre scrum.
Just having a look, if they've reached over France and scored the try, then Smith did brilliantly just to stay in the field of play, but France may well have picked their pocket.
Well, they want to check, but if an England's hand's still on it, then the ball's already being pressed down by the England player. But again, that footwork, spotting those one-on-one opportunities. It's Kyle Sinclair that Ramos manages to beat with that hard right footstep, the chip over the top. Wondered what he was doing, but Smith, the wet field. Well, they've actually said it's an on-field try, so they've got to find definitive reason not to give it.
Once again, Brett Cronin.
So you must really start from the onside position. As soon as the ball goes over, it's fine.
It's Olivon that comes over the top.
Please.
So there's the ball. It's out and it's available.
Released. And there the hand comes over from the French, so it was released. It's whether England had held it on the line first or whether the ball rolled back.
You can dive to score a try, when the ball's in the field of play.
The on-field's a try. I don't see compelling evidence to overrule that at the moment.
Two steps ahead of England in everything they're doing, aren't they, France?
So, Ben, I'm just getting a camera angle to show if he's onside.
Number 7 there, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2
so
feet
it's
behind.
Olivon, over he goes. He looks like he's onside, he's behind the feet.
I mean, they put huge pressure on Smith. I had a question whether Smith was able to get to his feet or not, but there we are, he's driven over his own line, really.
They don't go down, so they don't have to let him up. They just can't dive on top of him. They stay on their feet. Does Smith get dragged over the line before he releases it? I don't think there's any clear evidence there. This is going to stand.
Now through
So, Ben, we've confirmed that number 7 is onside. I'm just making sure it's his hand that presses down on the ball.
Look, it is his hand. It is his hand, okay?
So if it is his hand, then we can award the try.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to
look at number 7. Look at his hand.
The only thing I would say,
Ben, I'm just going to explain. Okay. Your questions about whether the player's on his feet or not, when the ball goes into in goal, just like if you're scoring a try, you can dive for the ball.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I'm on it before that.
Yeah, no, and we're happy with everything before that. So there's going to be a try to France. Okay. I've gone over your concerns. I wanted to explain it to you, but I'm going to
ask a question. No,
it's irrelevant right now. Okay.
Owen Farrell, now England captain, having come on, but it continues to get grislier and grislier.
the only thing I would say in England's defence is Antoine Dupont, who makes the initial tackle, ends up on England's side and doesn't clear out of the ruck. If he's in goal, he's okay, but if he's on England's side in field, potential penalty for not rolling away, but
someone on the timing
should Marcus Smith have taken the ball over the line?
He's been told? Okay.
Easy to say with hindsight.
Yeah, look, he ends up the wrong side of Marcus Smith, so there's so many bodies there, it's hard for the referee to give a pen.
And through a thicket of limbs, the most important one belonged to the France number 7, Charles Olivon.
To be fair, my point's rubbish, because you could see there the ball clearly was available for England. So, no argument. Again, France just thinking a little bit more clearly than England.
Ramos can't miss. He's having one of those afternoons. 21 points for him now. 41 for France, and there's still 20 minutes to go.
Well, that's got to be a record score, isn't it, for France against England? Certainly at this stadium, it must be. But their kicking game has been outstanding, and England, just about get it right. I think we talk about how the French flair, but actually, you look at Ramos from the tee, the likes of Dupont, the kicking game for France has been superb today.
As if England's problems needed to get any tougher. Ollie Lawrence has suffered an injury, he's off. They've used all their replacement back, so Jack Walker, the Harlequins hooker, is on ostensibly to replace an England midfielder.
He'll go into the back row. One of the back row will come out into the back. Ludlam's on this right side, potentially him.
Farrell.
It's a big difference between these two teams in the scoreline, but you look at this phase of play here, England just being dominated defensively. They can't really get over that advantage line. It's just a huge difference in power and size of those French forwards.
Tackle from Reda Wardy, the La Rochelle loosehead prop, who's come on for Cyril Bay. Piato Malvaca as well, the Toulouse hooker. It remains the same story, though. It's a French story. They are writing all the big words at the moment.
Scrambling at the breakdown, doesn't actually come away with a turnover, but causes enough of a melee in there to force the error from England. He's been superb, Dante, on his first game back. Not enough game time under his belt. He's looked like he's been playing the whole championship, top of his game. There he is, straight over the ball, just gets a hand on it, spills out the side. England can't deal with it. Mitchell and Genge make the mistake, but Dante will take the plaudits from his team.
Here's Saku Makalu. England could do with him because ostensibly he's covering the back row today, but he's not bad on the wing either. I just wonder whether they might do a player swap. He's 6 foot 5, 17 stones, and he's very quick.
They did a player swap. There might be one or two more in the team that they might want to swap as well, because they, man for man, they've been outstanding, haven't they? And just think there's a big difference between the likes of France, South Africa, maybe Ireland in a slightly different way. The size of their forwards, they just have this enormous size and strength and power to their game.
It's Don Brandt who's gone to outside centre for England. Farrell might use him here.
Farrell, instead it's Smith, and Watson a little bit too close to execute that cleanly.
Still got a knock on, playing advantage.
England have just been wasteful of opportunities, haven't they? It's another, yes, the conditions are bad, but another attacking platform where they've coughed up the ball.
Stewart. Ramos.
Yep.
He's having one of the days of his life. Thomas Ramos.
Okay, blue. Stop.
Farrell off the bench and now captain. Over halfway. Chesham. Amongst not many England bright spots, I would suggest, Ollie Chesham. Cleared away by Tamak. Dupont, he's just bossing life at the moment. Dupont over halfway, almost on his own, and then the kick is being hunted down by Demortier. Ooh, and there was no room for a mistake there from Smith.
Yeah, no gamble this time for Smith. Slides over the line, dots it down, but France all get the put into the scrum.
It's just incredible, isn't it, the skills? I mean, often it's other parts of his game that aren't marvelled on, but his kicking game has been just top class. It's just like a fly half. Well, in fact, he's played there a few times. That's the first kick, and for my second trick.
You saw Mitchell there, who would usually drop into the backfield, not as a sweeper, but as soon as the ball is kicked, he should be first there. But because England are being stressed, Mitchell feeling like he's got to stay in that front line, and Dupont sees all that space in behind and exploits it. It's almost like he can make time slow down for himself.
Well, the pride that Ellis Genge will have felt rightly this week at captaining his country for the first time. It won't be the last time, I'm sure, but the utter frustration he must be feeling right now. Replaced by Mako Vunipola, Dan Cole has come on for Kyle Sinclair, and their first job is to push very hard in this France attacking scrum.
Chasing experience for any of these England players. 41 points on the board already, 15 minutes left in this match.
England have dropped Walker into that 10 position.
Dupont, and here's the new man. He's not been on for seconds. Mofana. England have stripped it away. Matoje with it. Cole over the top.
Quite sure how Ben Curry didn't win a penalty there. He had his hands on the ball for an eternity, and then it squirted out the side.
Use it!
Mitchell, he's been caught by Taufi Fanua.
Ball's out, use his hand!
And in the mud here.
Okay, no. Circulate, Jerry. Use it!
You pick the ball up with your hands, you're fair game.
That one you can't, because he didn't lift it, didn't move it, he just put his hands on the ball.
Cleared away by Farrell. One more game tomorrow on this penultimate weekend of the Guinness Six Nations. Scotland pitching for a triple crown, Ireland a couple of wins away from the Grand Slam, and then next weekend, to wrap it all up for another year, we'll be in Paris for France, Wales, and Dublin at tea time. Ireland against England, ITV1, STV. With goodness knows what will be on the table at the Aviva. By the way, highlights of all the Gallagher Premiership games this weekend tomorrow night. FA Cup quarter-finals, Cheltenham races, bags of high-end sport on ITV, STV over the next week or so. Smith, Farrell, Stewart, not stop running. Mitchell tried to kick, never got the opportunity, and then Dupont being hustled by Smith and Ramos. How good has Ramos been today?
Outstanding. A lot of people think maybe just a kicking fullback, but he's had every part to his game working today.
You wouldn't want to be choosing player of the match, would you, Nick? That'd be a horrible job.
I assume it's Lowell.
Yeah.
Excellent, Lowell. Good luck.
Well,
you're on your own, mate.
I'll tell you what, it might be a Frenchman.
Penaud. Says everything about this French performance that Damien Penaud, who's normally such a jack-in-the-box, has barely been mentioned. They've not needed him. Atoje stealing it for England, and Makalou up quickly on Smith, but it's still England ball. And here's Henry Arundel, England's jack-in-the-box, the 20-year-old. Smith, Curry offered himself. Instead, it was the shorter ball to Chesham.
What was that?
Watson. It was Lewis Ludlam again, furthest on that left-hand side. England a man down in the backs, having lost Ollie Lawrence to injury. Short of fast men.
Wow.
England, though, putting pressure on Mofana and drawing the knock-on and earning a very handy attacking scrum.
Yeah, I mean, a lovely little kick in from Anthony Watson, and using that kicking game to apply the pressure. I thought England were going to counter up there. They're 5 men versus 1, but they still managed to kick the ball away. And on this occasion, they do get it right, celebrated by Ben Curry.
England haven't had enough attacking positions like this, but this is absolutely Marcus Smith's favourite place to attack from. His team, Harlequins, in the Gallagher Premiership, score more tries from centre-field scrums than anyone else. He likes that freedom to be able to drift either way. It's the catch, the good tackle from Curry. He's worked his socks off since he came on, Curry.
French acclaim around the stadium for Antoine Dupont. He has been replaced by Maxime Lucu, Bordeaux-Bègles scrum half, little ferret of a scrum half. Just see him behind the referee, Ben O'Keefe. He's fit to busy himself again in this season, Six Nations for the first time. Played in every game last year, and we're saying hello to him again today. These hopeful English moments, however. Penalty taken quickly by Mitchell, gives it the long ball, and that's been taken by de Mortier. Oof. Penalty was taken, advantage was over, but they've got another one. All a bit of a shambles.
Away because Mitchell took the quick tap penalty. There's no advantage to be played. One of the forwards got up thinking there would be, but England will get another shot after a little accidental, well, not accidental offside. There's the ball over the top, just not quite enough on it for Arundel.
The score
there in front, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ficou in front, but these are the opportunities that when England go back to the drawing board on Monday, they'll look at. They've had a few of them. There's a big difference in the scoreline, but a lot of it, take 2 or 3 of those opportunities and it's a different score.
Atoje down quickly to Ludlam. Hint that went forwards. It was. Andrea Piardi, the Italian assistant referee, just confirming that. Stewart. Into the final 10 minutes. England seeking soggy solace. Wet consolation has been precious a little bit today. Smith. Beyond Ludlam to Dombrand. Held up by Penaud.
Got to be another turnover. Tell you what, they're going to let that one go, France, but they've slowed it down.
I think Wardy was unlucky there. That should have been a penalty. Got his hands on immediately. Maybe didn't make enough of an effort to lift the ball.
There's Jack Walker. Not playing at hooker. Part of the back row. Farrell, that's gone forwards off Stewart. Picked up with the advantage to Mortier, to Lucu.
It's a knock-on as well. Looks it to me.
On we go. Gaël Ficou looking for Penaud. A very tired-looking Alex Dombrand. Penaud will win this race, even with the tap. Penaud will beat everybody. It is one of the great French performances at Twickenham. They are piling more points on England than England have ever conceded here. Magnificent France, back to their best France.
Well, the vision of French halfbacks in this game has been superb, but then Ficou, having been delivered the ball, looks up, sees a very, very tired Alex Dombrand on his own, one-on-one against one of the quickest men in world rugby. Lifts the ball perfectly with the instep of the right boot. And as soon as it bounces, there's only going to be one result. Dombrand tries to put his foot down, but he's never going to recover. Needed to take the first 3 metres a bit quicker. And then once he gets through that flailing tap tackle, he knows he's in and he starts the celebrations.
8 minutes, guys. Let's keep working.
Just think at the highest level, this game is ruthless, isn't it? England had that line out on the French line. They turned the ball over with a knock-on, and then a few phases later, France are at the other end, and they've made England pay. How many times has that happened throughout this game?
Okay, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Well, Steve Borthwick said, we will find out. England will find out where we are at the end of this. They're finding out where they are. Toma Ramos now has 23 points of his own.
Just kicks on to the right, but he changes his angle so well, almost helps him, taking him wide. Sombrandt never going to be able to recover, but the vision of Fickou on that little perfectly weighted kick, absolutely on the money.
First arriver, holding on, first arriver.
Doesn't matter which battleground you choose to pick out, Ben. All of them today have been won by France 100%. And decisively at the breakdown.
I think that's the big thing, because you can talk about defence and being able to read what France are doing, but England never had any shots of their own to fire, which changes the whole psychology of the game. France have felt on top all game, and boy have they driven the knife home.
Watching the ball, it's outside. Nothing quick, nothing quick. Okay, Andrea, they're running, but nothing quick. It's already been touched.
As you said, they're great for France as well. They're just, haven't they, just had their confidence slightly dented. 18 months ago, everyone was talking about them going into the World Cup as favourites, and things hadn't quite gone their way. They're right back to their very best today. And put the pressure on Ireland to deliver tomorrow.
Luku. France hungry for more. Mafana, and then Ramos and Demortier, and this is Jaminet, and this is Penaud, and this is getting embarrassing for England. It's beyond wondrous for France. We wondered if they were stuttering a bit heading towards their own World Cup. They're all right.
Well, it's one of the great tries, isn't it? That straight from set piece. Just razor-like in its execution. I mean, they can't hide their joy, the coaches. Look at this, England biting in, looking a beaten side, very tired, and just players just getting turned in. France out the back, and it's the simplest of tries, but so beautifully executed by France.
England with a back row in that centre pairing, just exploited perfectly. Decoy runners, looks like it's going to be one out of the back, but it's actually two passes out of the back. Everyone thinking one of those trailing runners would be a decoy, but they use them both. It is a phenomenal first phase try.
England are lurching towards their biggest ever defeat in the Four Nations, the Five Nations, the Six Nations, whatever you want to call this championship over the last century or so. There's never been a grislier, heavier defeat than this, and they are flooding out of Twickenham. The boos against South Africa in the autumn, empty seats before the final whistle here in March. They have been tortured by France today, a magnificent France.
Well, people have forgotten to, well, they've easily forgotten that France are one of the best teams. They were stung by that defeat to Ireland, and I think they've just flexed their muscles and they've beaten England in absolutely every single department today. Never seen them with such a clinical kicking game.
Waiting for winger. This way here, Dan. Yep. Okay, Blue. Stop. Stop.
France couldn't be put onside. They're going to have to wait for England to run 10 metres before they can come forward.
Smith still going, looking for support. It's not a great deal. There now, taken on by David Ribbons. England emptying the bench as they need to. Mitchell, his Northampton teammate, held up by Mafana.
What a difference. That break by Smith would have been finished by France. The support would have been there. He's treading water, looking for people.
You got the penalty advantage.
Mitchell.
Still got the penalty advantage, it's back.
Mitchell again. Farrell. This is Watson.
deux, ne sont pas, not rolling, 22. Here.
Curry.
Okay.
Mitchell. There is no gloss that England can put on this, but they might as well give it a blast. Mitchell. Ludlam's there, England penalty. Jamie George as well. Mako Vunipola not far away, but ball still free for England. Yeah, held up.
Discipline, ici. Not rolling.
Just haven't got the power, have they, England, to get over the line, and it sort of sums up the game, really. Just.
And then Mitchell went quick with the last tap. No one followed him. He went to the right-hand side, and there was only Arundel out there. No one went with him.
Ludlam went forwards into the final minute. France scrum. Who's the man of the match?
Well, I mean, could be any one of 15 at least. I mean, I think Gregory Aldrich's been outstanding, certainly in that first half. I mean, Anton Dupont was kicked brilliantly, pulled all the strings, but he's superb. I think Jonathan Dante, for a man who's come back, been out of the game for a while, I thought his defensive duty is outstanding, but really the fullback, Thomas Ramos, not just with his place kicking, but his kicking out of hand, his ability to beat the first defender, I thought he's been outstanding. Thomas Ramos, Guinness Six Nations player of the match, he's been outstanding in an outstanding French side.
Busy running our index finger down the record books of England's worst ever defeats. This will be their third heaviest anywhere, and their heaviest ever at home. They were walloped in Australia, they've been walloped in South Africa. They've never been walloped quite like this in front of home fires.
10 seconds left. Do France want another one? Do they attack from here, or are they happy with their lot?
Reset, far side down.
Kevin Sinfield, Steve Borthwick, work to do ahead of Dublin next Saturday.
Okay, let's go.
Galtier and France will look forward to welcoming Wales to Paris. Oh, we've seen some extraordinary performances at this grand old ground down the years. I'm struggling to remember many better than this France performance. You think back to the World Cup, that supernatural game against New Zealand when they beat Lomu and co. In its own way, this has been just as spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a team cycle and the way that they go, but you're right, they've been outstanding.
England taken to the cleaners by a France playing their best rugby of the championship. One of their greatest ever days here at Twickenham. One for the memory banks, one for the history books. England 10, France extraordinarily 53. Benny.
Well, you don't want to go on and on about how poor England were, because you do want to celebrate some fantastic rugby, but England made it easy for them. The French, just that ability to light the touch paper. I said it right at the beginning, when there's an opportunity, all their eyes light up, they flood the channel, but their ability to preserve space all over the field, they look right back at their best, and this sort of confidence gives them that momentum back, that momentum towards their home World Cup. They'll want to go on and win this championship. They'll be praying Scotland do them a favour tomorrow, but this France team are right back at the races where they were 18 months ago ahead of their home World Cup.
They will say you're never quite sure which French team will turn up. Well, I tell you what, the one that turned up today looks like one of the very best sides in the world. And for England, they conceded after 2 minutes, and really, they didn't win anything on the field. You look at the numbers in front of us, and France, individually and collectively, won every single battle across the field from start to finish.
So much for the England gruesome, record-breakingly gruesome. France glorious. England 10, France 53.